Hello viewers, it's your girl Ruby Fangirl, and today I'm going to review not just Ruby stuff, or should I say not Ruby stuff for this week. It's time to do Kaiju week. So basically what I'm doing is, there will be like a few times other than November that I'm going to be doing Kaiju week. But once I hit November, I'm going to be doing Godzilla month. So you can probably tell like what I'm going to be planning to do. I'll definitely explain more like in the video itself. And since you guys voted for King Kong, excellent choice, I'm going to review almost all of the King Kong movies I had. The reason why I say almost, because I don't have every single one of them, but you'll probably figure out like which one I'm actually missing in the video. I actually just do explain it like after I reviewed one of them, so. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not really a massive King Kong fan, but there's only one OG King Kong I do like. I'll talk about that as the video progresses. And also, one more thing before I actually before I get into the video, I do want to say that next week I won't be posting like any videos because I'm going to be going on vacation. So, I just want to tell you viewers that just to make sure that I didn't disappear out of thin air. But before we get started, let's just change the filter for a bit into to black and white, mainly because we're going back in time. There we go. It's black and white now. And now let's get into the King Kong videos. Yeah. All right. So we got that stuff out of the way. Now let's get into the movies. So the first one that actually came out is of course in 1933, which is of course the original King Kong from back in the day. So here's what the back looks like. And the front, like for some reason I always really like these old time like posters and stuff like that. I just think it just looks really cool. And of course this was the very first monster movie to come out before the monster genre started. So you can really thank Kong or King Kong, look, I'm always gonna mix those up, for releasing the monsters in general, because if it wasn't for this movie, we wouldn't have like Godzilla and stuff like that. But I mean, he was like one of the reasons why he was made, but there were other reasons. So it is quite interesting. And here's the disc, very similar to the poster here. And here is the sequel that they made quite literally like a few months after the original. So here's the Son of Kong. I do like the poster here too, though. Yeah, this movie is not really my favorite, but I do like Hiko, or Kiko. Because I don't know if they actually said it in the movie or not, but he does look really nice and stuff like that. Because unlike his father, he has questionable faces at times when it comes to close-ups. Ugh. But for the most part, he's just a friendly ape. And I didn't even notice that Kong had a son. Like seriously, like there was no female ape. Because at least there was actually a female ape like in the sequel to like the remake of King Kong, which we'll get to that later. And here's the disc. It kind of reminds me of like the Ruby discs that I have, so I think it's just quite interesting, but it's not really creative as the Ruby discs themselves. And here's the sequel. And now we're going to be moving back to color, so let me just change the filter a bit. Alright, now it's time to get wild, and here is King Kong versus Godzilla, the original. So for those who don't know, King Kong vs. Godzilla has a lot of history before like, the 2021 came out. And oh boy, this is the one that started out the Showa era of Godzilla films. And when it comes to like King Kong as like, because since it mainly focuses around him, I am not really a big fan of like the suit when it comes to the close-up faces, because he looks kind of like a derpy drunk ape. I don't know why, but once we get like further onto like the other movies that he just looks weird. And here's the back. Oh, now it's King Kong that's lifting up the train, not Godzilla. Yeah, because I'll definitely explain like the Godzilla parts when I eventually reach like November when I talk about this movie. Or next year, because I'm actually planning to do like Godzilla month, which is of course his birthday. But overall, I think it's a really silly and fun movie. And here's the disc. Still not really a lot of creativities in these discs, huh? And here is a movie that has a bit of a history, but it is quite interesting. The 1966 King Kong Escapes. And it was supposed to be like a sequel to like King Kong vs. Godzilla, but they were approached by like Rake Bass to make like a movie and stuff like that. But unfortunately, they changed it from a King Kong movie to Emperor Horror of the Deep. So with the licensing still around, they decided to make this movie. And to be perfectly honest, I am not really a big fan of the King Kong design in this. Like, I'll definitely show you pictures of like the King Kong face. He just looks weird. Like I said before, the suit designs are weird. I could definitely see why King Kong doesn't really have a lot of suitmation stuff. But I really like the design of Mechanicon, created by Doctor Who. No, not that Doctor Who. I know, like, Doctor Who was popular during this time. But I do really like this little background here of, like, attacking, like, Tokyo Tower and stuff like that. Yeah, it was a popular trope at the time to destroy the Tokyo Tower. Oh, and here is Gorosaurus and stuff like that. He will later appear in, like, in God's, like, destroy all monsters. So I think that's actually pretty cool. Once again, no freedom in discs. I swear, they're really, like, not really making creative discs nowadays. And here's the movie I was, like, referring to, the remake, which is, of course, King Kong, 1976. And to be perfectly honest, despite being, like, a remake, I am not really a massive fan of this one. And boy, does that show when it comes to King Kong himself. Like, he's, like, really small. And also, I don't like his face. Like, the eyes just give me, like, a simp vibe. Like, every time I think of, like, these kind of King Kong movies, I just say, simp! Because, seriously, those eyes are giving me, like, a creepy look. And also some controversies nowadays with, like, the posters and what the movie shows itself. I'm not gonna go further in that. And here's the back again. Yeah, you can probably tell what I'm talking about. Still no creativities in the discs. And I know there's supposed to be a sequel to, like, the remake, but sadly I don't have it. But I will eventually get that in the future, and I'll do my own review on this, because honestly, from what I heard, it's a weird movie, so I'll do my own video on that. So skipping, like, a few decades later, we get to King Kong, the last remake of like, the original. And to be perfectly honest, I actually do kind of like this movie, despite this movie's, like, 3 hours long. And, of course, it's directed by, like, Peter Jackson, who did, like, the Lord of the Rings trilogy and stuff like that. But I actually do kind of like this, despite it's very long, as I said. And here's the back. Let's look at the disc. Finally, a creative disc. Alright. Alright, and now we're reaching into the reboot territory. And the movies that I think is the OG King Kong, which is, of course, Kong Skull Island. Sorry about my wording on Skull Island. Now, this is what I call a King Kong movie. And it just has all the Marvel characters you can think of. Loki, Captain Marvel, and of course, Samuel Jackson, aka Nick Fury. Seriously, there's, like, a lot of, like, cool actors in this movie. I really like the poster they did here. It's really cool. Pure action. Well, you're not lying on that. And here's the back. Such a good movie. Once again, reminds me of the Ruby discs, but not right up there. And here's the movie you guys are mostly familiar with, as, like I said, like earlier, you only recognized, like, King Kong versus, like, you never heard of King Kong versus Godzilla. But you guys heard of this one, Godzilla versus Kong. And to be perfectly honest, I am not really a massive fan of this movie. Well, not just because it's, like, awful and stuff like that, it's just not right up there with the other monster movies I really like. But when it comes to like the Kong story, I think it's actually pretty good. So yeah, I would definitely give like credit for that, and the Kong story is pretty good. I'll talk about the Godzilla stuff another time. Who will win? We all know who's gonna win, obviously. And also with an extra competitor, you know, Mechagodzilla and stuff. Yeah, I'll talk about like Mechagodzilla another time. Alright. Well, at least there was actually a little bit of creativity in the disc, like with Godzilla's foot and stuff, but yeah, for the most part, they still lost creativity. Oh boy, here we go. Probably my favorite MonsterVerse movie of all time. Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire. Holy moly, what a movie this is. I can go on for days on this, but I'm not going to go like too far in this, mainly just because I'm mainly just going to focus on the Kong stuff, which he's like the main star of this movie, just like in the previous movie. And wow, this Kong story just keeps getting better and better. I wish there was more Godzilla stuff, but with a new movie eventually coming out, maybe we'll probably get it. Yeah, because I really like the beast glyph they give. Like, it always reminds me, like, the first time I saw, like, the poster, I was like, and the trail, I'm like, wait a minute, did he just receive the Yang treatment? Like, losing an arm and stuff? But it was actually his cyborg arm. But even though if it's a cyborg arm, you still can't use your arm if it's, like, badly damaged, which is exactly what happened to him, because Shimo blasted ice onto him on his right arm, and it was permanently damaged. So, yeah, let's just say that I could definitely see, like, King Kong and Yang high-fiving each other, and now with their mechanical arms. Alright. And here is the back here. Wow, I really like this Godzilla, like the pink disc. Because, I mean, it makes sense, because he did glow pink in this movie. That's actually quite funny. Alright, and that was all the King Kong stuff. Now let's get back to me. Wow, that was a lot of King Kong stuff. I mean, sure, it was short. And of course, Scar King was being overwhelmed with all the stuff I said. Alright, I'll see you guys next time on Ruby Fangirl Channel.